All right. Alrighty, I think we should be set up now. Sorry about that. Yeah, if you have any questions or anything at the end, feel free to turn your mic back on, but just for like the audio purposes when it's recording, just try to keep your mic off while we're going through everything. But welcome to Art Appreciation, everybody. We are just going to go through our syllabus today and go through our first discussion post as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm just going to take you to our Blackboard page first of all. So I've already posted a few announcements today, and I did do a video just sort of welcoming you guys on Friday as well. So if you haven't checked that out, I would recommend watching those and making sure that you read that first announcement whenever we get off today. We I always kind of just like to kind of go through what the format of the courses and like what the Blackboard shell sort of looks like. And then we'll do like a PowerPoint version of the syllabus so that hopefully the information will kind of stick a little bit better than just having to read the PowerPoint through. So if you haven't used Blackboard before, it's pretty user friendly. All of our navigation board over here will be what takes us to our different parts of the course. I'm in instructor view right now, so yours is probably a little bit more simplified than this is, but generally this is kind of what you should be looking at. On the announcements page that we have right here, I'll post once or twice a week just to kind of give us some updates on when our assignments are due, any changes that might go on. It'll be posted in the announcements as well. You should get an email to your Gaston email address as well to any announcements that I make. So make sure that if it's coming from Blackboard, it's probably an announcement, and just check that out and make sure it's nothing too big and changing and anything like that. Our formal syllabus will be right underneath announcements right here. And then our course entry quiz, which I already did a reminder on that, but please take your course entry quiz as soon as possible. It's like 3 questions, super, super simple, but that is your entry into the course. And for auditing purposes, we've got to have everybody take that just so that we have a record of the online participation there. So make sure you do that just as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will be tracking you down and sending you text messages and calling you and emailing you. So just get that out of the way as soon as possible. And that way we won't have to be tracking you down. Our course information tab right here, this one's going to be really important for you. I would, if you do better with having something printed out in front of you, I would recommend printing out this course schedule right here. This is going to be a play-by-play of like the entire course that we'll have, all of our due dates, all of our just different changes or anything like that. They'll be located here, and it's broken down where you can find all that stuff at. And if anything changes, I always change it on the schedule as well, and I'll update you on the announcements. But unless something is said otherwise, this is like your master copy of what is going to go on during the course. The first couple of weeks, we're just sort of taking it easy. We are doing our course entry quiz and our icebreaker discussion. And then next week, we'll start getting into our first like module set of lessons that we do. So I will go ahead and any dates that like the school is closed or census dates, withdrawal dates, all of that will be located here as well. I'm going to jump over to our PowerPoint now, and we'll go ahead and go through that. I don't want to keep you guys here too long, but I do want to make sure we get through everything. All right, so let me kind of minimize this. So, okay, perfect. So this is my instructor information here, and I use, this is my Gaston College email. I do have office hours that are posted. However, my online classes very rarely do y'all use the office hours. So if you do need to meet with me like on Zoom to discuss your grade or anything like that, I am more than happy to do that for you. But generally, my office's hours are pretty there's not usually a lot of people that come to the office hours. But if you'd like to, I can make an appointment with you, or I can share those hours with you somewhere else. Primarily, though, my email address is going to be the best way that you can reach me. I'll respond to you like within an hour if you email me there. And I'll get into our email policy here in just a second as well, with how to correctly email me and all that. Let me try to find or like pin myself here. There we go. Okay. This is just our course description, kind of what art appreciation is going to be. If you have not taken art appreciation or any kind of art class before, obviously, this class is really just an overview of art theory, learning about different art mediums, so like the differences in paint and drawing and sculpture. And then we have a pretty significant art history unit as well that we'll go through. But this is just sort of like an introduction to what the art world, the visual art world, has to offer us. So that's pretty much just a summary of what that description is going to sound like. Here's our student learning outcomes, just kind of like if you want to link back to this, you're more than welcome to. Just kind of what we should obtain at the end of this course. We should be able to trace the origins and historical developments of art, recognize the major artistic periods and styles, identify the various roles of the artist, analyze how conventions, culture, and tradition contribute to meaning of an artwork, analyze the relationship of design principles to various art forms, including but not limited to drawing, sculpture, painting, and architecture, and identify the processes and traits of various artistic mediums. So that's all a fancy way of kind of saying what I said before about it being art theory, art history, and just sort of a mashup of all those things. So one important thing about this course that you may have already emailed me about it. I have received a few emails, but just so we're clear, this is an OER based course, meaning we have no textbook that is like official to this class, which is great for you guys because you don't have to buy a textbook. It is all open access resources that are free to the public and for college teachers to use. So this is a really great thing. It can be very, very beneficial. However, some people do kind of get confused with the expectations of not having a traditional textbook, what you have to be doing weekly. So although we do not have textbook readings that we are doing initially at the first here, I use Ed Puzzles for our lecture materials, and they have PowerPoints within the Ed Puzzles. So you are required to watch all the Ed Puzzles. That is essentially your textbook readings for this course, and they will be graded as well. But we'll get into that a little bit more as we get to the methods of evaluation. OER content for this course will consist of PowerPoints, videos, articles, and then during our art history unit, I do use an open access textbook that is online. So you don't have to pay for it, but I do like link the PDF files over so that you can read sections of a open access textbook. Just some other kind of requirements. We will be using Blackboard for all of our course modules and the assignment submissions. And if at any point in the semester you have trouble logging into Blackboard, please let technology services know and me immediately. Don't wait around to let me know if you are having issues with Blackboard. With this course being totally 100% online, you need to be able to access Blackboard pretty much every day, just to make sure that you're getting the updates and staying informed on all of the changes or any changes that are made. But it's very, very important not to wait, more than a couple hours or so if you are not able to log into Blackboard for your online courses. And I've got this listed several places. I'm going to sound like a broken record about it, but please make sure that you are using your Gaston College email address to correspond with me. I and all the other Gaston College instructors are not allowed to respond to your personal emails. And also none of the emails from us will go out to a personal email. It'll all only be for your Gaston College email. And that's just for privacy purposes for students as well. So if you are in high school, or if there is, someone that does not need to have access to your email address that's, has access to a personal one, we're not sending college information to them. It only needs to be coming to you. So that's just a policy that the college has. And just know that, if I'm not responding to your emails, it's probably because you're not using your Gaston College email, and I'm just not allowed to respond to those. This attendance policy, it doesn't really apply to you guys quite as much because we are online. However, online attendance is very, very, very important. So I'll go to the next slide when we talk about that. So Gaston College expects students to participate in all instructional activities. Online courses are no different from the classroom rules or courses in regard. However, participation must be defined in a different matter. So student attendance in online courses will be defined as active participation in the course as described in the individual course syllabus. Online courses will, at a minimum, have weekly mechanisms for student participation, which can be documented by any or all of the following methods, including student tracking records in Blackboard, submission completion of assignments, and communication with the instructor. So that's all to say that if you're not submitting something weekly on Blackboard, I will start to track you down. The actual official policy that Gaston College has is that you cannot go 21 consecutive days without participating in an activity. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but really it's just 3 weeks if something happens, or if you try to work ahead, or if you're happy with your grade and think, if I miss 3 weeks of work, I won't need to, be here, yada yada yada, whatever it might be. But if in a row you miss 21 days, which means you are not submitting something on Blackboard, you can log into Blackboard. That's, logging into Blackboard is fine. But that's not going to count for your attendance. You have to submit something, or you have to email back and forth with me. If we have an email conversation, that can technically count as attendance. But really, if you're not submitting an assignment weekly, I'll be concerned about you and start tracking you down. I've got a chat in here real quick. I just want to make sure I don't move on before. Is anyone else unable to hear other than Lainey? Just give me a heads up if anyone's not able to hear me. Or just give me a thumbs up if you are able to hear me. I just want to make sure I'm not just talking to the wind here. Okay, so Nathan. Yeah, Lainey, I think something might be going on with your computer. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think something might be going on with your computer. Make sure your volume's up. And you could try to join on your phone also if it's not working on your computer. You can just log into Blackboard and then take the Zoom link from there. And then also the recording will be posted afterwards, so you should hear the volume there if you're having trouble right now. Okay, I'm going to move on just for the sake of time. Alrighty. So, like I was saying though, you do need to be participating in submitting something, watching an ed puzzle, completing a discussion, doing something every week. Otherwise I'll start tracking you down. If you email back and forth with me once, hey, I got your email type of thing, the clock starts over. So the 21 days is no longer in activity. It starts on day 1 again after you do that. Which, the reason the 21-day withdrawal period is in place is so that you don't have something like that happen where you're not submitting work for an extended period of time. And, obviously we don't want you to fail or to, do poorly in the course. So, yeah, you'll know if you're close to that deadline, you'll be very well aware of it, or you should be, through your emails and through Gaston's, student services reaching out to you and all that if you start to get close to that. But just try to submit your stuff weekly. Don't let it get too behind. The withdrawal process for this class, this is not the right date, so I'm sorry about, or wait, no, yeah, that is the right date for the withdrawal. I'm sorry. The 9th of November, that is the last day that you guys are able to withdraw from the course, and that's for any reason. So if it's, if something happens, if, just you get overwhelmed with your workload, anything like that, that's your last day that you can withdraw from the class, which is about a month before the class is over. But anything, if you want to withdraw after that, if you just get behind on your work, if whatever happens, unfortunately, you'll just have to take the class over again to try to replace that grade with something else. But whatever you end up having, it won't be like a W on your transcript. It'll be whatever the grade is. But if you withdraw before then, you'll just get the W, and then you can take the class over again and replace the grade, or it can just be a W on your transcript and it not affect your actual GPA. Okay, so the makeup work policy for this course. This is the college policy. However, my personal policy is a lot more specific than this. Um, I teach 6 sections of art appreciation to the same course, and there's about 45 students in each of my courses. So late work for me is nearly impossible to keep track of as it is. And I've tried to do it in the past, but it just kind of it gets taken advantage of, and also the students will wait to submit work and their grade will be affected poorly. It's just a whole thing. So I've really tried to do this for a while, but now I'm a pretty big stickler about late work. Um, for late work, the student must provide at least 7 days notice if there is a need for an extended deadline. However, I do have the right to deny this request. If you tell me like, hey, I am, going somewhere remote where I'm not going to have any Wi-Fi access for an entire week, can I get an extension? I will probably work with you to make that happen. However, if you say, hey, I'm going to be at school all week, but my family's going to the beach this weekend, and I'm not going to have access over the weekend to turn my stuff in. I'm not going to give you an extension for that. You've just got to make it work during the week sometime, unfortunately. I also realize with our course being entirely online, there is the possibility for things to happen, such as internet outages, failed Wi-Fi, losing a charging cable, missing the deadline by 1 minute. My kind of general rule for this is all of our assignments are due on Sundays at 11:59. And if you feel like you're going to have one of those things happen, which, obviously you always can't always anticipate it, but if you feel like, your internet might be rocky or anything like that, let me know on Fridays about it, and I can work with you to make sure that we get it taken care of. However, most all of these excuses come at about 10 o'clock at night on Sundays when I am, with my family and not checking my email rapidly, waiting for something like this to happen. If you email me like 10 minutes before the deadline saying that one of these internet outages, failed Wi-Fi, lost your charging cable, all of this happen, I'm unfortunately not going to be very sympathetic in those cases. You're sort of choosing at that point to wait to the last minute to submit your work, and not giving yourself enough time for you to correct one of these things if it happens, or figure out a solution yourself if one of those things happens. Also, if you email me like the next day or later on in the week and say one of those things happened, and it's not like even the same day as the assignment is due, I'm not going to accept the late work either. So just generally try, if you want to submit something or if you're trying to submit something, make sure that you get it done before the deadline, because more than likely if it's after the deadline, I'm not going to accept the work, and it's just going to have to it'll just have to be what it is. I do offer some extra credit opportunities, so if your grade starts to look sort of low, if you're missing these deadlines, you can do the extra credit opportunities. But generally speaking, this is probably my biggest like policy that I have, is that I do not accept any late work, almost under any circumstances. My email policy also, I said we would get to that. The college policy is that we have to use the gaston.edu email address that's assigned to you when you enroll into the college. That's Gaston's policy, not exactly mine. It's just a general policy. My policy gets into this middle part right here. So like I mentioned before, I have a lot of sections of art appreciation, and they all start with art 111, and then there's 3 numbers or 3 letters at the end of that. So for example, ours is, I believe, D6G, maybe is what it is. D6G, that sounds right. You can just look at the end of the course number. But when you're emailing me, please include that course number. It makes it a ton easier for me to track you down, and know where the email is coming from. I don't have to search through 300 students, but I can just search through 45 students that are in the roster. But yeah, that's very important to me. And the easiest way that I can respond to your emails quickly without having to dig through a bunch of other students, especially with my online classes, which we will get to know each other, obviously. But it's a lot harder to put. It's a lot easier to put faces to names when you're seeing someone every day. But for you guys, it just helps me out a lot to have that course number in the emails. So please do that. Also, just generally, please try to be professional with your emails towards me. Just say, hey, Sarah, I am just wondering when the assignment is due. thanks, Paul, or whatever. A lot of the times I'll get emails that have no subject line. There is no course number in them. Sometimes they're not even from your Gaston email address. And sometimes they'll just say, hey, when's the assignment due? And we'll have 6 assignments due that week. I don't know what your name is. I, don't know what course section you're coming from. And that can get really frustrating. So just try to be like, semi-professional in your email typing abilities. You'll need to have that anyway for when you get out into the real world and you have jobs and, emailing with your bosses and all of that. You don't want to just send, a half written email that's not, has no punctuation, has no, spelling or grammar rules in it. So just try to do that for me, but also for you. Other important information, this is related to the late work as well. Everything in our course is on adaptive release. So you might be thinking like, what if I just submit an assignment a minute late? Like, is it really going to make that big of a difference? It will, because of the adaptive release. All of our assignments for the weeks will close at 12 a.m. on Mondays. So the week before that, 11:59 is like the last minute that they'll be open. And then on Monday at 12 a.m., our next week's worth of work will open. So you won't be able to see the work from before. That does become important for sure when you're trying to turn your work in. So just be mindful of that you're not waiting until the last second, because if you're trying to submit something at 11:58 and it accidentally goes over, or, won't submit, or it's like having trouble, uploading or whatever, it'll close on you at 12. Alrighty. We do have a fair amount of writing in this course. And so if you are someone who struggles with writing, which I totally get, because I wasn't the best writer whenever I was in high school and in college even. Really, it wasn't until I got to grad school that I felt more confident in my writing abilities. So totally understand if you are having trouble with this. We do have a really great writing center with some folks in there that will help you out and review your papers for you, help you better like organize your writing, which is helpful for this class, but also I'm sure your other classes as well. If you would like to fill out a form for that, that's the link for it right there. This is also the contact information for it as well. If I see that you're understanding concepts well, but you're just not formulating them well, like in your writing, I may recommend you to go to the writing center. And by doing that, I'll let you know through email, but I'll just go on our watermark or our like alert system and alert the writing center to reach out to you to help you with that. So if you feel like you struggle with writing and you're constantly getting points taken off because your writing is just not up to par, I would really, really recommend checking out the writing center. That can be really, really helpful for you. Okay, this is our methods of evaluation, or how we will be graded in the course. The first thing that we've got here is our participation, and it's worth 15%. Our ed puzzles that I mentioned before, and our textbook readings, and our reflections post our textbook readings, the online one that I talked about at the beginning there, that will be our participation. For the ed puzzles, if you haven't watched ed puzzles before, they are just recorded lecture videos, but you are required to watch the full length of them. And those will be in like a special folder for you in each of the modules. And then you'll see them pop up in the grade book as like lesson 3, lesson 4. But yeah, we have a lot of those, but it is a pretty large percentage compared to some people's participation points that they have. Alrighty, assignments and discussions. Those are pretty similar. Assignments are what it sounds like. They require you to follow the prompts and address each of the respective tasks. You will need to submit the writing and images in one document, preferably a Word document, and then upload to the assignment. Those are worth 15%. At the beginning, we just have one assignment type. And then as we move on and we get to like our art history unit, I have a lot more assignments during that section. And then our discussions, very similar to assignments. However, discussions do require students to respond to their classmates and as well as submit their own assignment. And then responding in a thoughtful manner, that will be counted into your final grade. So it'll tell you exactly what to do, how many people to respond to, how to respond to them, depending on the discussion. Quizzes, we've got 8 modules in our course, and sorry, the light's like getting crazy on me. There we go. We'll have 8 modules in our course, and we've got 1 quiz per module. So there'll be a total of 8 of those. They're around 5 to 10 questions usually, and they consist of multiple choice, fill in the blank, and true and false style questions. Now, at the very end of the semester, we'll have a final exam. The final exam is 2 parts, and part A is that is distributed by the college. I don't create that part of the exam. Part 2 for the exam is what I create. And typically I choose 2 or 3 questions per quiz that we usually do the most poor on, or the ones that have like the least amount of people got right. And I'll reuse those and just revisit them in our final exam. So if you feel like it would benefit you to, document the ones that you miss, that would be really helpful, because at the end of the semester, you can't go back and look at the answers from like quiz 1 again. So when you finish a quiz, it might be helpful for you to just like take a picture of the ones that you got wrong, and the correct answers, or write them down somewhere. But yeah, those will be important later down the line as well. All right, we have 2 projects in the course. Those are also worth 15% each. The art analysis, this is just a paper essentially of an artwork, and we'll do that about halfway through the course. Or maybe not quite halfway through the course, maybe like a month or so into the course. And then our final project is to curate a virtual museum. We make a website, and this is the final project and the final exam sort of like are due around the same time. Personally, I think the final exam is important also, but I prep you a lot more for this final project, and I feel like it's a better example of showing what you've learned during the semester. So we'll curate a virtual museum, create a website, and but you don't need to worry about that right now. That's like the very, very last thing that we'll do. And then our final exam, like I said, there's a part A and part B, a multiple choice, fill in the blank, and true or false style question. We will have a study guide for part A, the part that I did not design, and then part B is the quiz questions. So I would kind of create a study guide yourself, like as we get through the quizzes. Just write down the ones you've missed and keep those to study from later on. If you are looking for some extra credit, I do have several extra credit opportunities throughout the semester. You will need to attend an approved art exhibition on campus or other local museum or gallery. Be sure to let me know in advance what gallery you're attending, though, so that I can approve the location. Any of the ones that are on Gaston College's campus, those are already approved. So if there's one that like I forget to mention or something, anyone on campus will be totally fine. And then you'll need to take a selfie in the gallery with the artwork and then email that to me. And this will add 2 points to your final grade, so you can use that a maximum of 3 times. So that's a total of potentially 6 points added to your final grade. So if you have a 92, you can get a 98. And if you were not already a Gaston College student, congratulations, you now are. You have a lot of privileges that come with being a Gaston College student. You have the gym facilities, the library access, student discounts, and much more. However, it does come with the expectations of a college student in this class. So you must be professional, mature, and respectful at all times. I know that a lot of you guys are taking like College Now courses. So this is like a high school course or you're still in high school technically, but you are expected to be treated and expected to behave as though you were a college student, and this is a college class. So yeah, if you have any questions with that or what that means, I'm happy to clarify that for you. But otherwise, that is it for our PowerPoint, and we are coming to a close here shortly. But yeah, so this week we've got the Start Here module that we need to go to. This is where all that kind of is going to be, everything that we talked about today is just going to be kind of summed up right here. I'll post this video when we are done with the recording, and you can access it here if you'd like to. I'll post the PowerPoint that we just looked at as well here. And then our icebreaker discussion is going to be located here. Essentially, all you need to do with the icebreaker discussion is choose a favorite artwork and find a good quality image, and then upload it to the icebreaker discussion, and then create a thread. and tell us why you chose this as your favorite artwork. And then this is a discussion post, so you need to respond to at least 3 classmates in a meaningful way, more than just good job. Here's an example of a student submission that looks perfect. They have a nice little label here, which is great. And you need to include that as well. It tells you kind of what to do that or how to create that label up there. And then they've got a nice little 150 word response as to why they chose that one. But yeah, that is pretty much it for us. The rest of our modules will be in the modules right here. So once next week when module 1 opens, you will see it located right here. And those are all of the ones for the semester. We've got our projects folder, and then we've got our final exam folder, but obviously you don't need to worry about that until much later. So we'll stay in touch this way. And I'm going to leave the rest of the time. We've got 7 or so minutes for questions. If anybody has any questions that they would like to ask before we end.
Okay, so you said that icebreaker. So you said there's a link to go to send you that. So or we just make it off a computer and just email it to you. Is that what you said?
No, there's a so if you go back to the start, so start here under the
Okay.
course content, it'll be a discussion. So you'll just need to click on that right there. And then we've already got some people that have shared theirs. You'll need to go to create a thread, like right there. And then you can either type your response in right here and add your subject line, or I believe you can, yep, you can attach a file right there as well. So if you'd like to do like a Word document or a Google document or something, you can just upload it right there.
So it can be like, does it have to be old canvas or can it like that?
No, it can be
Okay.
any, it can be anything. It can be sculpture, it can be architecture, even it could be film, it could be really whatever you anything you would like.
Okay, okay. I was just making sure because I had one, the civil rights one with Dr. Martin Luther King in it. I didn't know if that was going to be a
Yeah,
part of it.
absolutely. Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Okay, okay, okay.
Are there
That,
any
that,
other, oh, go ahead.
no, that was it. That's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Is there
Oh,
any,
and when is this due? Is it due to?
this is due on Sunday, so that's going to be whatever that day is, the 18th, maybe, I think. And it'll
Huh?
be due like all of our assignments, it'll be due on Sunday at 11:59. But you can look at the due dates as well on the course information, and it'll show you like this week we've got or wait, sorry, we're on week 1. Welcome to Art Appreciation, review the course expectations. We've already done that. Do your course entry quiz and complete your icebreaker discussion, and that'll be the 17th. Actually, that'll be the Sunday.
Okay.
Any other questions before we jump off? You can type them in the box too if you'd prefer to do that. They log out or minimize myself so I can see. Okay. Alrighty. Well, if there is no other questions, I'll hang around here for the next few minutes or so if you'd like to chat with me privately and stop the recording. But like got one more. Uh I finished all my assignments pretty much early. No. So if you do your assignments on Monday and no, you're fine, you're fine. If you complete your assignment on Monday, and you like, I will take your attendance for the week as like being here on Monday, and then as long as like when the next week carries over, that you submit your assignment during that week is fine, as long as it's like before Friday of the next week, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's
Okay.
as long as you're submitting stuff weekly, then you should be fine. When it goes like over a week and I'm like, oh, you haven't submitted anything, you've missed a week worth of work and now you're like into the next week, that's when I'll start to get concerned about, yeah.
So are these video calls like gonna be regularly like whenever
No,
we
this is the virtual orientation is it's like a one-time thing. And then I will post videos weekly, just like little short, hey, this is due. but it won't be like a formal Zoom meeting like this. This is just kind of an opportunity for you guys to ask questions if you need to. And if you want to meet with me on Zoom again, like face to face like this, we can schedule it, but this will be the only time that we meet live like this.
Okay.
And then with the Ed Puzzle videos, those are like pre-recorded lectures, so you'll need to watch those, but it's not, you can do that at your discretion. It doesn't have to be at a certain time. It just has to be through like sometime during the week.
So like, so basically, like, it's just gonna be like one thing we do every day. So what about the like the Mondays and Wednesdays? And so like that's gonna be the days we do certain things, and then like we figure out the rest throughout the week.
Oh no, it's we're totally online, so there is no like official.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, there's no days you have to be here. You just have to be submitting your work weekly. But no, there's not like any class time that we have other than this one. And this was an optional thing, so if you didn't make it today, that was fine. I just wanted to give everybody the opportunity to do it if they wanted to.
My bad. I keep mixing you up with my math class. That's my bad. That's the
No,
one I
you're
do
fine.
next month.
I understand. I understand. There's a lot of balancing with these classes. All right.
So
Anybody have any other questions? We've just got a couple minutes left before it times me out.
no, man, that's all my questions. So do I just
Yep, you're good
leave?
to go. Yep, you are good to go. It was good talking to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Uh-huh. All righty. I've lost our little, there it is. Okay. Are you, if you guys are good, then I will see you around and I appreciate you meeting with me today. All righty.